We're here. Ah. Yeah. It's a good time to be alive, you know. What's good, guys? Your boy, good Savage, back again for another Savage Talks Live. The OTC is back. I refuse to call it the OTC one, but he's back, and everything seems a bit better. You know what I mean? There's a shift in the tectonic plates. The boy Roman's back. It's all right, man. When Roman's back, everything feels a little bit better, man. But I hope everyone's well. I hope everyone's okay with this time as well. Although I realise I can't really please everybody when it comes to timing, so I let the analytics do the timing. I went through the analytics. I saw where most subscribers are free. This was the time slot it came up with. So don't blame me. Blame AI, blame analytics, and blame statistics. But it's good to be here. I hope everyone is well. I hope everyone is taking care of themselves. Welcome to Savage Talks Live. Coming up on the show today, we have a few topics to cover. We want to cover Naomi. Big up to Naomi. She's the champion now. And I want to, dive deep into, is Naomi a transitional champion or is she not? Now, this comes off the back of me searching the interweb and just seeing what the most popular things people are talking about is. I don't really try and find any think pieces or anything like that, but I saw that Naomi was trending the day after. I was like, okay, maybe everyone's saying nice things about it, which they were. But then I saw people doing content and it was like, she's a transitional champion because she's going to fight Stephanie Bakir and I'm like, I'm not really too happy about that. So we're going to discuss Naomi as a transitional champ, or is she here to stay as champ? We'll get into that. We'll cover Toni Storm. Yeah, I mean, we don't do too much AEW stuff, and I enjoy it, so I'm going to talk about it. And I don't need to talk about All In or anything like that. But what I do want to do is have a discussion about Toni Storm, timeless Toni Storm. Now, you seen in the title, the question was, it wasn't a statement, it was a question. It was a question because when I sit there and think about it, there is a validity to what I'm saying. Now, I haven't heard anyone else say this, but is Toni Storm currently the best female wrestler in the world? Or is she currently the best wrestler in the world? Who knows? But we're going to chop it up. All I'm saying is it's all subjective and things change and people don't stay being the best because there's always someone else's time when your time is up. But we're talking about right now, 2025, 2024, what we're saying about Toni Storm. Obviously, we're going to talk about the return of the one Roman Reigns and a small Raw recap at the end of the show. Before we get to that, big up to everyone in the chat. And then, just as we get to the end of the show, we'll be here for around an hour. I want to, segment it up properly so I can keep these shows going. Then we'll take the comments from the comment section for the last 5 minutes of the show. And what I'll do is, as the show goes on, I'll start any comments that seem valid to talk about. And if it's something where it requires a long answer, then what I'll do is I'll make a video on that said comment, and then I'll make sure that you get your recognition in there as well. But big up to everyone. Hope everyone's well. If anyone comes into the chat later on, stream later on when we're not live anymore, big up to you as well. And I suppose the ask the favor is just hit the like button if you enjoy the content. If you don't enjoy it and you're a troll and you just want to waste your time watching it, then hit the dislike button at least. Because either way, engagement be engaging. You know them way there. Big up Morris. Big up honesty. You already know the vibes. But yeah, let's get it, man. So let's start with. Should we start with Raw? We can start with Raw, and then we can move on. Just because I'm like, Raw is probably the biggest topic today, obviously, with the return of Roman Reigns as well. Maybe a small review, but I don't want to go segment by segment anymore because honestly, it's not important. It's not important. It's not fun, and it's beginning to be a bit of a waste of time, if you ask me. Um, I didn't mind some of the things I saw. I think there was positives in Raw, even though the show as a whole didn't seem like it was very good. I thought it's a bit nonsensical. It was a bit all over the place. If I'm correct, we have 4 SummerSlam matches that have been made now, just off the back of the weekend. Because before the weekend, it was just John Cena and John Cena and Cody Rhodes. Now there's been 3 more matches made off the back of the weekend. I want to delve into that and see where it's been created from. Is it storylines? Because one thing I realized is to build these stories properly and to make the champions feel more important than they already do and make the titles feel more important than they do, everything has to center around stories. I know it's becoming repetitive. It's probably definitely becoming repetitive for me on this channel, but there's not much I can do about that because that for me, I have a way that I feel that pro wrestling should be. Not that my opinion means everything, but everything does have a structure to it. Everything does have a an origin to it, and there's just things how there's ways how things should be done. Now the argument could be that um with this current crop of creative and current crop of CEOs and business suits and the ones above, they might want to do something a little bit different. But I just offer this think piece in doing stuff different. If you want to present WWE pro wrestling as a real combat sport, then we're always going to get 50-50 booking because in real combat sport, people don't just like lose and then win and then lose and then win because there's rankings. In WWE, they seem to do 50-50 booking because there's not a story. They quickly go to someone else winning and someone else losing, so it doesn't look bad. So there's a bit of a balance there. We don't need no balance. You need storylines. Sometimes matches will finish in DQs, countouts, interferences, no contests. You can do that, and that way people stay strong. If you have stuff going on in the backstage, these segments and stuff, it means that every wrestler doesn't have to wrestle on the card that day. But you're wasting talent. We saw on the weekend with Women's Evolution, clearly there's a plethora of women's talent. There's so many. Yes, a lot of them are from NXT, but if they're good enough, you bring them up. We saw today on Raw that even though we knew that draft has never really been taken serious, watching Raw today really made it feel like, yeah, then don't care about no damn draft at all. And I'm sure there's a draft coming up at some point. Big up Ends, big up Matthew. So, we get a few notes up because I don't want Raw to take over the whole thing because that would be terrible. So just go for the big talking points. Some of the smaller talking points I'll just skip past, but I will mention it anyway. I did want to cover one thing as well from Saturday Night Main Event. I think Charles Robinson, Little Nate, the ref. I think he actually hurt himself taking that spear from Goldberg. I think he actually hurt himself, man. I think I saw a scan of his. I don't know if it was a real scan or anything like that, but I saw that just before I went live, so I wasn't aware of it. But yeah, so Monday Night Raw took place in, where was the location tonight? It was the Legacy Arena, Birmingham, Alabama. We started the show with Rhea Ripley, Naomi. Well, actually, we started the show with Naomi. I'll talk about this because this was, if I'm honest, take away the fact of how much love I have for Roman Reigns, this was the best part of the show. Naomi's mic work has been slept on. Naomi's mic work at the moment is top tier. It's fun. It has something that a lot of people don't have right now. First of all, her entrance was great. On the way to the ring, I think I saw her slap like one fan's hand, but when you see what fan it was, that person had some of the Naomi gear on. And then she gets in the ring. Now, I was worried when she got in the ring simply because I knew what the fans were about to do. I knew the "You deserve it" chants were about to come to the forefront. I knew this was going to happen. Um, you deserve it. Thank you. I thought all of that was going to come. You know what I mean? And Naomi, being the true heel that she is and being top of her game right now, did what every heel could learn from on the show, which was she shut the chants down instantly. The first line that came out Naomi's mouth after grabbing the mic was, nah, nah, nah. Nope. I don't want to hear it now. Y'all weren't feeling the glow, but you're feeling me now, aren't you? I love it. She said, I don't know why you're sitting there trying to act like you saw this coming. Y'all thought I was going to cash in my Money in the Bank contract on Tiffany Stratton, but I warned you. I will warn all of you. Ain't nobody know my next move. That's what she said. I thought that was great. She went on to speak about Jade and Bianca and said like, yo, that's what you guys thought. I'm gonna keep it 100. I'm done with them girls now. Let them do what they're doing over there. You can go either way with this because I feel like there's unfinished business there. But sometimes, if you have to take a shift because someone's won something, a unfinished business being on another brand does work sometimes because it means we can always do the full circle moment and come all the way back around and go through that again. So I'm not mad at it, but I thought her promo was great. I thought the way she handled it was great. I know it seemed like something simple. The nuance is simple. But what I will say is there's too many heels in the company that pander to the crowd. I don't know if a lot of these superstars grew up wanting to be wrestlers and they wanted adulation from people or they're attention seekers, because you can take adulation from the crowd as a heel, but you have to take it in your own way. So, for example, when your career's all said and done and you're on Chris Van Vliet's podcast and like, oh, do you remember that time on Raw when you'd won the title? What did you feel like inside? That superstar should be telling you, I felt great inside. But also, I love eliciting boos and jeers from the crowd. That's what they should have done. This is what Bron Breakker should have been doing when people were barking at him. This is what Seth Rollins should have been doing when everyone was singing his song, but instead he tries to orchestrate stuff. There's a few heels where you don't need to do that only because their character doesn't require that, because what they're having the fans do is part of the gimmick. So, for example, Roman Reigns, acknowledge me, could seem like, why is he pandering to? He's not pandering to the crowd. He's getting the crowd to pander to him. Acknowledge me. I know you want to be a part of this island of relevancy. Watch me throw my finger to the sky and watch you like follow me. Because his whole gimmick was, I need to be acknowledged for who I am and what I do in this company. It works. And now babyface or heel, they're going to acknowledge him. So that was great from her. This was followed by Io Sky and Rhea Ripley first, and then Io Sky. I didn't really like where this was going, to be honest. I understand that it's off the back of Women's Evolution, but maybe I was silly. But my assumption felt like, let's move away from them two now because there's other women to get involved with. Maybe not so much Io, but Rhea. There was a line that killed me when Io came out, and I have to do this. So let me find this. Rhea Ripley came in and she said, one thing you should know about me, I'm not cautious, I'm reckless, and I'm pissed because I walked into Evolution with two goals: to finally beat Io Sky and to get back my Women's World Championship. Io Sky replied with, Rhea, with respect, get in line. I walked into Evolution with the Women's Championship, so Naomi, I want to get my title back from you. This is what Naomi's response was to Io. Girl, I don't know what you just said, but you and her can get your entitled asses and faces. No, you and her can get your entitled asses out of my face and to the back of the line, all the way back. The back, get out of my face. Broski, this shit was so funny, bro, because a lot of people are going to be like, oh, that's kind of, you can't say that to Io, but she's a heel. And she's only saying what a lot of people are thinking. I don't know what you said, bitch. I don't know what you said. I don't care what you said. Get to the back of the line. She acted accordingly how she should. I would say that this, we had Adam Pearce's voices. Whoa, 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 whoa. This is the part where I'm not happy about at all. But the match has been made for SummerSlam. Now, some of you guys might think bit of deja vu here because when else did we see a match that would end up being between a singles component, two singles, get turned into a triple threat match leading up to a pay per view with less than 2.5 weeks? When else did that happen? When else did Rhea Ripley get involved and somehow get slotted into a triple threat match that she has no business being in there? When else did that happen? Well, I'll tell you when it happened. The reason why you got deja vu is because this is what happened after the Raw after Netflix, and this is what happened leading up to WrestleMania. EO beat Rhea Ripley, and somehow Rhea Ripley wanted to moan about it, and she got given a match at WrestleMania in a triple threat match. Now the same thing is about to happen at SummerSlam. Naomi, EO, Rhea Ripley, triple threat match. You get it. So not much more to talk about with that. I'm not happy about it. I think it's silly. Naomi's going to win, hopefully. She should be beating them. And then hopefully from that point on, Rhea and EO can do what Naomi said, get your entitled asses out of her face and get to the back of the queue, get to the back of the line, because there's plenty of superstars there. Yes, they're talented. Yes, they're great in their own right. They're not my favorites. I do like aspects of both of them, EO more than Rhea, but we need to be real here. We need to be real here. So that's where we go with that one. We went on to another segment. We had the Judgment Day with Roxanne and Raquel. They took on the Kabuki Warriors. This match ended in a Dominic Mysterio just kept getting involved in this match. I don't need to spend too long on here. Obviously, Judgment Day won. You could say they cheated, but technically they didn't because Raquel tried to put her foot against Roxanne's ass so she could get the cover, but it was already done by then. The one thing I'll say, continuity in this, referee, if Dominic is distracting you throughout the match, constantly stepping on the apron, surely you would throw him out of there, innit? Not that it mattered too much, but they picked up the victory to Judgment Day. We have Bayley versus Lyra Valkyria. Listen, I don't know why they want to force these matches on us, Becky and Bayley and Lyra and Becky and Bayley and Becky. I don't know what's going on. I saw Becky was dressed like Hulk Hogan damn near with her outfit. I hear all of this. But I didn't need to see a 2 out of 3 falls match between Lyra and her on this show. And I'm sure, if I'm correct, let me make sure that I don't know if I put it in my notes or not. Yes, it was a number 1 contenders match for SummerSlam. So now, going into SummerSlam, just like after WrestleMania and going into whatever it was, Bad Blood or what, we have Lyra Valkyria versus Becky Lynch again. By the way, remember, guys, I'm starring any comments that are worth speaking about at the end, so I will keep that. Again. I don't know about you guys in the chat. If you want to let me know if anyone is actually interested in seeing this match again, let me know. But yeah, 2 out of 3 falls match. The match was all right. It was all right, but it was a lot of roll ups. It felt rushed because, of course, it's rushed because 2 out of 3 fall matches usually take a long time, and it's on the Monday Night Raw, and you're only going to do it for like 2 hours and 45 minutes or such. So it was rushed, a lot of roll ups just to get to the end, and in the end, Lyra won. So I'm not mad at it. Running senton bomb, and then flying elbow from Bayley. She applies the crossface, and then Lyra hits her with the ropes, and then connects the Nightwing and picks up the victory. 2-1 to Lyra. Backstage, we had Jackie Redmond and Stephanie Vecchia. They just spoke about Class in Paris, all that business. We had the Secret Cervix backstage as well. Chelsea says that she should be the one representing WWE in Paris. Chelsea calls Stephanie a loser. Stephanie says that if Chelsea really wants to know what La Primera is truly about, take her best shot. And then, Chelsea talks about, I would love to take my best shot, blah, 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 blah. But she's like, I'm giving my best shot against a Hall of Famer, which was leading on to her versus Nikki Bella. And you probably know that likely we'll get Stephanie versus Chelsea next week because they can't help but be repetitive. Secret Cervix over and over again. Yeah, that's how it goes. Bayley getting treated like trash is insane right now. I agree. Well, There's getting treated like trash, and then there's just not having any stories, which is probably two of the same things. But yeah, rubbish. We get an advert for Friday Night SmackDown. Cody Rhodes will confront John Cena. I have to tell you guys, I don't understand how people can be happy with this. Leading up to WrestleMania for 3 weeks in a row, 4 weeks if you include John being on his own, was them confronting each other. I don't know if people know what the word confront means. I don't know if people know the dictionary or the thesaurus definition of confronted. But how many times do you need to confront somebody about something? Once you've done it, you've done it. We don't need to see you confront them once and do a mic drop. Confront them twice and roll out the ring. Confront them 3 times, dodge a crossroads, AA. We don't need to see that. It's getting very boring and very repetitive. All these matches for SummerSlam have clearly just been made boring and lazy booking. To make Lyra versus Becky again just a regular match is lazy booking. There's lazy booking throughout this show. All right, trash. But anyway, where do we go from here? Okay, we get Karrion Kross promo backstage. Well, it was a recorded promo. It was a great promo. It's always a great promo, but he's still talking about Sami Zayn. We'll talk about this towards the end separately, but why is he still talking about Sami Zayn? Let's choke him out, leave him. I don't know, just leave him bloody somewhere. What are we doing here? We've just had a big injury in the company. Star power's dwindling, and people like LA Knight and Drew McIntyre and Karrion Kross are not being utilized to the full potential. Bronson Reed not being utilized to his full potential. It's just boring. Nakamura, by the way, still part of the roster, not being used properly. So it kind of stinks, is what I'm saying. Big up Zen. Every week with this Karen shit, and what's going to happen is we'll get to Friday and he won't be on SmackDown. He'll be on Main Event, where we can see it on YouTube, where nobody watches. Embarrassing stuff, man. Embarrassing stuff. We get Nikki Bella versus Chelsea Green with the Secret Cervix at ringside, and I have to say, this is not something I want to say, and I'm sure it will get better as the ring rust drops off. But Nikki wasn't the best in this match. There's parts in it which was really good, but yeah, it weren't the best. And even when she picked her up for the rack attack, it was a big struggle there. Now Chelsea's not a big girl. Like if Nikki was struggling to pick up Doudrop that way, makes sense. But I don't understand why she was struggling like that. But it is what it is. She did end up hitting her with a rack attack in the end anyway, and then picks up the victory. The Secret Service carried on to attack Nikki Bella, and it forced Stephanie Vakia to run out to the ring and help her. Which, in true wrestling fashion, if you guys know of what's coming next, I will let you know that next week on Monday Night Raw, the likelihood is Nikki Bella and Stephanie Vakia to take on the Secret Cervix. Now, it's either going to happen at Raw, or they're going to do something stupid and give us a SummerSlam, which we don't want. Big up Zen for the super chat. Love for the love. You already know goes to the Pablo Crave Fund. I respect it. It's good to see you back. You've been missing. You know what I mean? But hope you're enjoying yourself, man. Hope you keep yourself out of trouble and taking care of you and your family. So big up to you, brother, and respect for the super chat again. Right. We get Gunter and Paul Heyman segment. We did have backstage interview Jackie Redmond and Rusev and Sheamus, but honestly, banger after banger after banger is what Sheamus said, and Rusev to talk about having a rematch. Listen, I don't want to say anything too bad, but obviously I'm talking about the characters and the writing, not so much the people. I like Rusev. I like Sheamus. I was very happy that they're bringing Rusev back. I didn't know they were going to do this with him. If I knew, I would have hoped that he didn't come back because it's pointless. Sheamus, the geezer's a legend. Just put the money into Celtic Warrior workouts, get better cameras and all that stuff, and just let Sheamus do that with the whole company. He's never going to run out of people. There's people on NXT, SmackDown, and Raw, Evolution, all of that business. Evolve, I mean. So just let him do that because this can only lead to a best of 7 series, or we're going to get one of those brutal Drew McIntyre, Sheamus type matches at SummerSlam, which will be great for the night. It will be great on the night. They will pull off something great as they always do, but it doesn't change anything. It doesn't change the trajectory of the business. It's not a game changer. It doesn't help any storylines. Morris is correct. It's the same as Aleister Black, but I'm bored of speaking about that too because the same thing keeps happening. And sadly, the same thing is happening for Ron Killings too. And Nakamura. And Carmelo. So, it is what it is. Come on, Zen. You already know I know. You know what I mean? These are changes like the Big Show, but it is what it is. This segment between Gunter cuts a promo on about Bill Goldberg and he's not here tonight and who's next and all that stuff. But obviously there was a gauntlet match announced for tonight based on Triple H's press conference previously, which I wasn't happy about this stupid flipping gauntlet match anyway. But it seems like that's all they can do these days is gauntlet match after gauntlet match. Every single week, every single month, gauntlet match, tag team, gauntlet match, women's title, gauntlet match. It's terrible, it's boring, it's repetitive, it's lazy. It's very lazy because what they did is they managed to take 5 people out. So that's 5 people I don't have to write stories for if I just throw them all in one segment. That's 3 people, Becky, Bayley, and Lyra I don't have to write for if I put them all in one segment. Judgment Day, one segment. I'm not, but like the fans are not stupid. Some fans are naive. Some fans are clueless to it. Some fans don't want to realize it, which is fine. If you're happy watching it, watch it. But that is terrible. Anyway, Paul Heyman, first of all, doesn't really, the whole focus on this should have been Seth Rollins and his injury and where that group that doesn't have a name goes next. But it wasn't. The focus was Bron Breakker, which does beg the question, which we're going to cover tomorrow in another show about Bronson Reed and Bron Breakker. Because if I'm Bronson Reed, I would just leave this group now. You was best off with the Judgment, with the Bloodline. They were treating you better. I didn't know he was getting brought into this group to be a lackey. I didn't know he was getting brought into this group to be the least important. It doesn't make any sense. With Seth, I'm not gonna talk it now because I want to, I want to get everything I need to get out today. But tomorrow we will cover it in a separate video, or I'll do a pre-recorded video just on what's going on there because there isn't no way. And I know a lot of people are talking about what we're going to do with the briefcase. The briefcase is for a year, so he has until June to cash it in. Apparently, which we'll get to later on about Seth's injury. So we'll see. We'll see. Again, everyone in the chat, if you've sent comments in that are pertaining to what we're talking about and it's something interesting, I will throw it at the end of the show with 5 minutes. I'll go through the comments. If you want to get your comment read out early, send a super chat in. I'll do that straight up, make it a priority. But let's keep on with the show. So yeah, we got into this normal stuff, Bron Breakker business. They got a face-off, but the face-off is kind of ruined because Paul Heyman is standing in between them. You know what I mean? There was a comment at some point where Paul Heyman said he's going to break you through the barrier he's going to break every barrier that's put in front of him. But then he told him, and he's going to break your ass at SummerSlam. Did you hear what I just said? He said that Bron Breakker is going to break Gunter's ass at SummerSlam. All right, Paul Heyman with the I hear it. Moving on from there, we have the final match of the night. Now, obviously, it feels like there's not been a lot of matches, but because we're going into a gauntlet, we have CM Punk, Jey Uso, Penta, Bron Breakker for number one contendership match. Now, the question will be, which I'll cover tomorrow again, is why Bronson Reed isn't part of this match. Let me know. Because this is what we're losing sight of now in WWE, is when matches are being made, they're not giving us a reason for why said matches are going to be made. They're not giving us a reason. They just put them together, or they give us a reason for why the match is being made, which is, whoever wins the gauntlet. But they never tell us how the people got into the gauntlet in the first place. Was there a raffle backstage? Did somebody pull a name out of a hat? Was there a number one contendership match to get into the gauntlet? No, there wasn't. Why is it Bronson Reed and not Bron Breakker? Or Bron Breakker and not Bronson Reed? Why is Sami Zayn not in there? Why is Karrion Kross not in there? It doesn't make any sense. Why I don't get it. Why is it good for some people and not good for other people? It's been very strange. And there's lack of understanding. They don't tell us we got love for basketball. I don't know. I don't know, but they need to get to the reasons of why certain things are happening because at the moment it makes no goddamn sense. But let me quickly run through this because what happened in these matches are not important. We had Bron Breakker versus Penta first. Of course, Bron Breakker won. You know why? Because Bron Breakker has beat Penta at least 4 times since Penta's been there. At least 4 times. Then we had LA Knight come out. Bron Breakker beat LA Knight again. Then we had Jey Uso come out. And Bron Breakker beat Jey Uso. Then CM Punk came out. They went face to face. They went toe to toe, but it didn't end well. Now, a lot of people got involved in the match. Jey Uso, after taking the spear in the previous match, came back out because Bronson Reed got involved in the match. I have to let you know this. We get it. CM Punk won. Yes, they might call Paul Heyman the Oracle, but I told you guys previously that CM Punk is the person who's fighting him at SummerSlam. It wasn't a shock. It was always going to happen. I told you this yesterday. I told you the day before. I told you last week, and I told you 2 weeks ago. It was always going to be CM Punk. So this was pointless. And judging by the way WWE has been later, I don't understand why CM Punk just didn't come out and say, Gunter, I want to fight you at SummerSlam. And before anyone says you can't just ask for a title shot, well, maybe you don't know. You can. Cody fighting Johnson. You can just ask for what you want. Unless you're Roman Reigns, of course. And then you never get your rematch. But I digress. Obviously, we knew what was going to happen after this match. The beatdown was going to proceed. What I wanted to get to, by the way, is the commentator said, this is a gauntlet match. There's no disqualifications. This is a gauntlet match. There's no disqualifications. Who made that rule? Who made the rule that there's no disqualification in a gauntlet match, considering we see gauntlet matches at least twice every 6 weeks? I don't remember this rule. Surely there would be a rule to say disqualifications are in play in these matches simply because if someone gets involved, it's an easy way for someone else to get a pin. The countouts can still happen. If there's no disqualification, then the question would be, when Bron Breakker started the match, why didn't Bronson Reed just stand in the ring? Why didn't Bron Breakker go into the ring with a steel chair? Why didn't Bronson Reed just stand in there with a kendo stick? If it's no disqualification, then there should be no way that Bron Breakker could lose. Or anybody with a faction or friends by that way. It doesn't make any sense. You're making up rules as it goes along. And I know this because Kofi Kingston was in a gauntlet match leading into Kofi Mania, and disqualifications existed. So, what are you talking about? But anyway, such is life, and that's what happened. The beatdown came, and what happened? CM Punk's down, and Jey Uso's down, and then you already know what happens. The OTC returns with all the aura of 1,000 men. I don't know what this guy, brother. This geezer is the coldest, bro. He's so happy to see Roman Reigns return. He goes in there, he kicks ass. Superman punches and such, clears house. Paul Heyman looks shook to the core. The last time we saw Roman was him getting speared by Bron Breakker. So for anyone wondering why this is where he returned, it's because that's what happened to him last. He gets into the ring, he does what he does, he clears house, and then he holds out a hand for Jey Uso's on the floor. It's his little cousin. Well, technically not his little cousin, but the cousins. And he shakes his hand, he brings him up. And then CM Punk look to each other, CM Punk and Roman. And sadly, and when I mean sadly because SummerSlam is literally, what, three? It's not even, is it 2.5 weeks away? Maybe. This stinks of Roman Reigns and Jey Uso versus Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed in a tag team match. And judging by Roman's schedule and what we know of Roman not fighting on the roster, means that at SummerSlam, that's going to be a match. The match is great, but that can't be at SummerSlam, bro. There ain't no way. Former champion who held the belt for 4 years. Former champion only to Gunther in his last reign that lost the belt 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, max. Is all of a sudden fighting these two mid-card guys, bro. So at SummerSlam, for the 2-day event, when people are wondering how we're going to get 2 days out of SummerSlam, just like we're wondering how you're going to get 2 days out of WrestleMania. Well, I tell you how. A stinkfest of smoz matches and tag team matches, bro. Ain't nobody, and I mean nobody, want to see Roman Reigns in a tag team at WrestleMania. The only at SummerSlam, we saw Roman and The Rock. That's Roman and The Rock. And that was against Cody and Seth. What are we doing? Morris makes a great point. Yes, Braun Breaker versus Roman is the one. It's the way to go. This is Roman Reigns we're talking about. This is the OTC, the tribal chief, the one above all, the GOAT, God mode blood. What are we doing? I'm sorry, guys. I think Braun Breaker's the future, true. But at the moment, he is no better than a mid-carder, bro. Use Drew McIntyre, use LA Knight, use Karrion Kross, and leave Jay and Braun Breaker and Sami Zayn and Penta and all these men in the mid-card. It's not a disrespect. The mid-card is great. Some of the greatest wrestlers to ever live were just great intercontinental champions. Dolph Ziggler was a great, I know he won the title, but he was a great intercontinental champion. Jericho was a great intercontinental champion. The Miz, great intercontinental champion. Randy Savage, great. We don't need all of these guys. Crazy business. Again, love for the love zen for another super chat straight to the Pablo fund. I think you want the comment read out at the same time, so I get it. I hear you about Roman Reigns tag thing, but I could say the same thing about Randy Orton being in the tag match. Well, say the same thing because I've already said it. That's the reason why you never heard it. If you weren't running around, not turning up with the Demon team, you would have known that we already talked about it. But hey, listen, some people seem to want to see Jelly Roll and Randy. I don't know about you guys, but I remember Randy kicking people in the face. I remember him being an absolute savage. I remember handcuffing Stephanie McMahon. I remember him kicking John Cena's dad in the face. You know what I mean? I remember him kicking Mick Foley down. He was the legend killer, and now he wants to hang out with celebrities. If you just look at what happened with Randy, hey, it is what it is. Maybe he just wants to enjoy himself, and I'm all for that, Randy, but we get what we get. And they keep disrespecting Drew McIntyre, and I just don't get it. Now, I understand that if they want to do Jelly Roll versus Logan, Logan ain't a full-time wrestler, and he isn't experienced enough to carry someone like Jelly Roll in the ring, so they're trying to protect him. But use somebody else. Use somebody else. Use Damian Priest. Use Damian Priest and Jelly Roll. In fact, don't even do that. I don't even want to disrespect Damian, bro. They're just rude on it. They're just rude. But that was the end of the show. CM Punk and Roman Reigns and Jey Uso standing tall while Bronson Reed holds his jaw and Braun Breaker looks confused and Paul Heyman looks scared. And he's going to clutch onto that fucking briefcase for however long now, which is trash because, like, why would you have the briefcase? If you can't cash in, surely Seth would just have it at home. And, all right. In fact, probably would have been better for Seth to have it at home because at least then the shock and awe if he goes and comes back and cashes it in on somebody. But hey, what do I know? Here we go. Moving on from there, let's get to the topics. So there's not too many of them, but there's a couple. Let's go. Seth Rollins' injury straight away. Well, Seth Rollins' injury it's bad, but it seems like he's likely to return in about 5 to 6 months. I think I say return, that's probably the wrong thing to say. His injury or his recovery after rehab will likely be between 5 to 6 months' time. So I'm expecting Seth Rollins to return at the Royal Rumble, if I'm honest. Just judging by the way the rest of the year is going, it's likely that he'll turn up in the Royal Rumble. Probably get a stupid pop and do something. It will be smart if they do something with his group while he's away. Maybe bring in a new leader, carry on. Maybe Bronson Reed and Bron Breakker are fighting to see who's leader, but then you can't really be leader of a group with one person, can you? So maybe they want to be treated as equals, but Bron Breakker's the stardom's gone to his head, and Bronson Reed doesn't like it. Who knows? Do something with it, but yeah, I'll just say CM Punk is going to SummerSlam, and it was predictable. Seth Rollins' return at Royal Rumble already feels predictable. Um, I'm sure Liv Morgan will be fine before then, but if she's not, then she'll return at the Royal Rumble too. Zoe, listen, with all due respect, nobody cares. I'm being serious. So you like to keep lying to yourself because I know people like to do this thing. If somebody gets hurt, all of a sudden you pretend to care about them. The person, Zoe, the actual female behind the character, I care for in a way in terms of I love wrestling and I appreciate all they do in the ring and I appreciate how dangerous it is. So I want her to get well. I want her to be fighting fit, whether she comes back or not or gets released. Because let's be honest, most of you lot were shocked that she weren't released in the last releases. Hopefully she can come back with a new character, brush anything what happened before under the carpet, and make something great of herself. But I ain't gonna hold my breath. But let's stop lying to ourselves because I've had this channel for a long time and I don't recall any positive words about Zoe Blood, Tony Stark, bruh. You get me? She was a part of the what's that lesbian group called the Pure Fury Collection, PFC or whatever. All right, man. The last thing Zoe did good was when she was with Trish Stratus and Becky. That's the last thing I saw her do good. So, but speedy recovery and all that. Um, Naomi, the Pure Fruit Collective. That's the group. All right, so transitional champion is the words that are flying around, not based on rumors, but I think it's based on the fact that Stephanie Vaquer is so hot right now and seemingly going from strength to strength that people have already relegated the fact that at Clash in Paris, Stephanie Vaquer will beat Naomi for the women's championship. I actually disagree. First of all, I disagree on the sentiment that it should happen. I disagree. And secondly, I disagree that it's going to happen, although with a pinch of salt, this company does dumb shit all the time. But it doesn't make sense that Naomi, doing the best work she's ever done in her career, she might say something different, but this is better than what she was doing on TNA. This is better than what she's ever done in WWE. Her character is on fire right now. If you go through the company, take Roman out of the picture because he just returned, whose character is better than Naomi's? I'll answer the question. Nobody's. So, okay. In fact, is it a surprise? Well, we'll get to that after, actually. But I'm just saying, she's got the best character right now. She had a storyline going on, which loads of people didn't have a storyline. She's been damn near athletic in the ring and been one of the best athletic wrestlers in the ring the whole time. And her character's finally found its way. Now, does Naomi's character require a title? No, that's true. That's the beautiful thing about having a character. You have a good character, it doesn't need a title. Hence, Austin and Undertaker and The Rock, all of them not winning as many titles as, you know, Triple H. And remember, Undertaker's there not for the whole time, but 30 years. So you see where I'm going with it. It doesn't require a title all the time. And what's memorable usually isn't the title unless it was won at a big pay per view. It's the story. It gives you nuance. It gives you a chance to ruffle a few feathers and go through the motions without people realizing that, oh, you just had a 6-month storyline and we didn't even realize there was no title involved. Great stories do great things. But I'm not happy with everyone throwing Naomi to the wayside. I'm not happy with you've got a shiny new toy in Stephanie and you're happy to just move her out the way. Transitional champion sounds like the most disrespectful thing to Naomi I've heard in a long time. Because transitional champion is literally saying this champion isn't that dope, won't draw any money, and the fans don't want to see him as champion, but they can take the title from this show to this show because we're lazy and we don't have anything. That's what transitional champion is. That's the only reason for them. We don't know what to book between Evolution and Clash at Paris, so anything in between there, let Naomi have the title. I disagree completely. It's a farce. I think it's stupid. And if it happens, the riot that I will bestow upon this company, the the terror that I will inflict upon the eardrums of said YouTube listeners will be horrible. The disrespect will be parliamentary. The revolution will be televised. The crash out will be streamed worldwide. The Demon Team X scumbag, we will be, you will hear, you will feel, you won't believe what's about to happen to you guys. I will send the Demon Team out, Order 66 style. I will send the Demon Team out to everybody's stream, and anyone saying anything positive about Naomi losing, I will get them to mash up your stream. Don't try us. Yeah? We are a beautiful collection of inspired wrestling fans. We like wrestling. We love wrestling. There's stuff that we find great, there's stuff that we find poor. But one thing that brings us all together is professional wrestling. And Paul Levesque, I'm not going to say what, but if you're trying to beat those allegations, you'll do what's good for you, bro. Not to mention, you're about to drop that stupid documentary in between this happening. So you better just listen. I don't want to say too much because you won't even know if this is kayfabe or not. You get Heel Savage. Monday Night Raw tickets will get purchased just so I can turn up and confront man myself. And when I say confront, I'm not talking about Cody's confront. So what do you want to talk about? Not that. Yeah? All right. Savage has spoken. Naomi stays as champion until there's a worthy competitor that can beat her for the title and the story to go along with it. You got to stop treating it like it's real combat sport because it's not. I digress. Naomi keeps the championship, and it is what it is. And let me get to the final topic before we get to the comment section and get to the end. Before anyone starts going at me, before anyone loses their mind, I didn't say all time. The comment is timeless Toni Storm the best wrestler in the world right now? Now, initially, I was thinking, is Toni Storm the best female wrestler in the world? But as we just had women's evolution, and as a feminist myself, and as us moving forward, we want to kind of move the titles away where we just say, that's a great wrestler, instead of saying, that's a great women's wrestler. We want to move to the point where women's evolution isn't needed anymore because the spotlight has been shone upon these females, these women, these ladies. So, the reason why I come up with this is because to be in this argument of the current best wrestler in the world, and the reason why I say current is because we have people who are part-timers who ain't turning up. We have people who are legends that turn up every now and again. We have people who are retired that don't count in this conversation. So when I say this, it's not stupid. It's not, oh, I can't believe he said that when you've got Trish and Lita. And no. I'm not saying that. I can't believe he's saying it when you've got Roman and you've got Punk and you've got John Cena. That's not my point. She's there week to week. Her character, I don't think there's a better one in the world right now. Her in-ring work is top tier. And when I say in-ring work, I don't mean a 450 and a 720, bro. Yeah? I don't mean a 450, a 720, a 1440. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about a dragonfly, a dragon screw, a dragon brew, a dragon fruit. I'm not talking about that. I'm just saying, you take all the aspects of wrestling, and everyone has their own opinions of the metrics to make the best wrestlers. But for me, when you simplify it, in ring work, mic work, star power, the look, and just the it factor, the aura. Now, obviously, character. Let's go character. Out of 10, what do I rate Toni's character? 10 out of 10. In ring work, out of 10, what do I rate Toni's character? 10 out of 10. On the mic, in character, what do I rate Toni Storm out of 10? 10 out of 10. Her look, the way she carries herself, the way she carries the title, just the way she looks, 10 out of 10. So the only reason I see that she's not at least in your top 2 in the world is because she's in AEW. And if it's because she's in AEW, give your head a wobble, look at yourself in the mirror, and just have a word and let yourself know you're a prick. Yeah? Because the tribalism isn't needed. If you're the best, you're the best. Do you need to be on the grand scale? Yes, you need to be on the grand scale. You need to be on the top scale. But for me, AEW is WWE's closest competitor. It just is. It just is. And TNA is great, but it's not the closest competitor. And I would say as well, I think that WWE's already purchased TNA, by the way. I really think they've already purchased TNA. AEW is the one who are face to face, toe to toe with WWE. Now, obviously, WWE is a big company, 50-year head start and all that. AEW's only been there for 5.5 years, so let's not get crazy about it. But it doesn't matter. She's putting on classic matches. She had the best storyline of 2024, bar none. The best storyline. So that's got to count for something. That storyline carried pro wrestling for a bit. Her and Mariah May. I think she's the best. So that's my piece on it, and I don't care what anyone says. I will take everyone's comments and see how they feel about it. But if you're going to give me someone else's name, first of all, make sure that person's turning up every week in wrestling. Yeah, or at least make sure they're turning up 2 weeks out of the month or monthly, and they're doing something. Because if it's just going to be this person doing great stuff a year ago and don't do anything now, I'm not hearing it because I said current wrestler. So anyway, that's my thing. Let's get to the comment section before we get out of here. Oh my god, I timed it perfect. There's 5 minutes left. All right. I've got some stuff starred, and then I'll get to the ones at the end. So where we go. Big honesty in the chat. Even the New Day telling the crowd, thank God for the New Day's stuff instead of pandering to the crowd. Exactly. I agree. Big up Logan. Io Sky proved to the world that she may be the greatest wrestler on the planet. I see from your profile picture you're a fan of Io. I'm a fan of Io. But for me, being the best pro wrestler in the world isn't the fact that you can do certain moves in the ring. If that's what you're talking about, she's definitely up there. Although she's been a bit scrappy the last couple of months, but last 2 matches been good. But how does she get in the conversation when her mic work is and her character is like you lot couldn't even tell me what her character is. Her character is she's Japanese and that's it. Okay. Big up though. With the Judgment Day storyline and the new direction thing can go, they have Roxanne win the world title at some point this year. And should Liv win the Royal Rumble, setting up Liv versus Roxanne at Mania. Big and not kicking it with Leo. I actually like this. You'd have to get the tag team titles off her. I ain't gonna lie. I would prefer it to be Raquel versus Liv than Roxanne versus Liv. But I do understand where you're going with it, and it does make sense. Just have to see where to go with the titles and where the titles move and stuff like that. But great comment. Where we go. Okay, let's get to the live comments. I think there's a lot of comments coming in after I said about Toni. So Zen said, I always liked her in terms of looks. I think she's beautiful. However, I don't think she's problematic. Meet her, yes. Hang out, yes. Trust her, not really. I don't know who you like talking about, but if it's a wrestler, oh, is it Tessa Blanchard? Is that what you're talking about, bro? Me band. I've been a fan of Tessa Blanchard for about 7 to 8 years. When I heard about the controversy, I was devastated, but I still supported her wrestling. Oh yeah, Tessa Blanchard was doing up some shaky business, man. Some booky business. I hear it. Morris, this was to Toni Storm. She's not the best. She's one of the best. Okay, well, I better see a comment underneath where you tell me who's better than her, and you better give me the reasons why. Because okay, how how was how was Tekla joined the conversation of being one of the best in the world? How? Bro, what? Spider Girl, the Austrian one, the one who speaks like Gunter. Brother, you got, bro. You listen. I I normally say I don't want to argue people's opinions, but I do because it's funny. You gotta be crazy, bro. You have to be taking the piss if you. There ain't no way that you're putting in a conversation with Toni Storm, bro. Toni Storm, Stephanie Vakira, I'm guessing. Tekla out of the women. Okay. Respectfully, on a separate scale, as said, women are one of the best women wrestlers in the world that I can name right now. Okay, I'm gonna give you the reason why Toni's better than them. Character's better than both of theirs. Mic work's better than both of theirs. She's had a generational storyline already. 1 second. Apologies. Apologies for that. But yeah. People ringing me buzzer. Anyway. Yeah. I don't understand. I don't get it. I don't get it. Julia. Nah. You just saw the headline. No muggles. What's a muggle? Somebody help explain. If you've watched Harry Potter, you already know. I had to agree with you on Hugo on this for sure. Yeah, listen, I'm not saying that Toni has to be your favorite because everyone's favorite's different. It's like if you ask me who is Jeff Hardy the greatest of all time. Nope. Is Jeff Hardy one of my favorites of all time? Yep. Because nobody cared to hear Jeff on the mic. I didn't care to hear bro, man, trying to hear Jeff on the mic, you get me? Actually, you know what? I can't even be being argued. Toni's mic work is top tier, actually. So yeah, I agree, Toni. Come on, man. This is what I'm saying. This is what we do on this channel, bro. We just drop truth, bro. Not our truth, obviously, but we just drop truth. It's not me trying to get people to agree with my opinion. I'm just giving out the reasons of why, and then you get me. So you're saying Toni's better than Charlotte, though, sir? Okay, you might have not heard what I said. Toni Storm is the best wrestler in the world right now. So if she's the best wrestler in the world, then she's better than Charlotte. She's better than Roman. She's better than Jay. She's better than Punk. She's better than Cena. She's better than all of MJF. She's better than all of them. This is what I said. Now, the reason why I said is she currently the best in the world, because currently she's the best in the world. How would I dare? Because it's not fair, is it? If I just say Roman, I told you that the other day. Roman's the best wrestler. Is the best. Is the best. Is the best. But that's why I said current because it's not fair. So what I'm just gonna compare people who are busting their ass every day in day out, doing the right things against Roman, who's not been there. He's not been there since he got speared the Raw after Mania. So Roman's had what 12 matches over 2 years or something like that. He's the best. That's never going to be disputed for me. But right now, people who are we're seeing them prominent every time we turn on a Dynamite, every time we turn on a Raw and a SmackDown and an NXT, they're the people I'm rating. And for those people, yeah, like Charlotte, the current Charlotte can't talk to Tony. Current, and you know what? You want to know how bad it is? If you was doing females only, whose work are you enjoying? Well, I'm enjoying Naomi's work right now. So you see, and if you go through a lot of people's like favorites or like Tony Storm, MJF, just going for people, Roman Reigns, Jey Uso, CM Punk, John Cena, Cody Rhodes, kind of. It's Cody Crybabies. I'm like carry. All I'm saying is, it isn't a coincidence that apart from those guys, the Muggles, you know what I'm talking about. The guys who they only like wrestling if you slap your leg and do a super kick. Apart from those guys, the CEX dons with the greasy hair and smell like I won't even smell like say wet dog because Pablo smells amazing. Unless you're those guys, brother, they're all the best ones are the ones who they've characters got something. They're always like I don't know. I don't even have to explain it anymore. But if I ask you guys some questions, I'm gonna get out of here because I only wanted to be here for hours, so we're done. But we've got characters that hit some greatness, then they go backwards. That means the creative's wrong. Like if you lose a title, that doesn't mean you all of a sudden turn into a chump. It's not how it works, bro. How do you think that Undertaker and all these guys stayed at the height of the company for most of their careers? They didn't all have the title because there was only two titles. Sometimes there was one. So how do people think that happened? Why is stories not the main focus? And if it's because TKO, well, you've got UFC for that and you own it. So I don't understand why you would want to do that. Wrestling without stories is Mandem doing stunt work in the ring. I said what I said. Wrestling without stories is stunt work in the ring, bro. Now you can do storytelling in the ring, but most people ain't. So what? I don't want to see the same people face off all the time just because we need to use numbers. He had a 5-star match because he said he done 19 super kicks. Okay. For example, here's an example. Not Kenny Omega. Will Ospreay and Swerve versus the Young Bucks as a tag team match was dope. Was there stuff I didn't like in the match? Yeah, there was stuff that while I was watching, I was like, I don't really like that. But in the moment, man's gassed in it. They were super kicking all over the place. They were doing no souls, but the no souls were like comebacks, and it was cold and it was orchestrated, but it didn't look cheesy. They can tell they worked on their craft, so I kind of liked it in some parts. But guess what? Leading into that match, there was a story, and in that match, there was a story, and after that match, the story continues because the match had if the Young Bucks lose, they can no longer be EVPs of AEW anymore. If the other two lose, they can't challenge for the title for a whole year. Stories. Because what would have happened if they couldn't challenge for the title for a whole year? Well, they would have to go into another story and find. You get what I'm saying? The story, going into SummerSlam, just like going into WrestleMania and all the big shows, there should always at least, and I say one, but that's actually a joke, but there should always be at least one big, heavily focused storyline. Just like Roman and Cody going into the WrestleManias, Jay and Gunter going into WrestleMania, even though it was poor, Cena and Cody going into WrestleMania, Tiffany and Charlotte, although it was a bit lackluster. This one actually doesn't have a prominent storyline running through the veins of WWE, especially now that Naomi's moved away from Bianca and Jade as well. There's nothing running through the veins of WWE, bro. It's just lifeless. I'm being deadly serious. I'm not trying to make a joke out of it. I don't want to be rude. I really don't. Yeah, I mean, if any wrestler sees this, they have the right to be pissed off with what I'm saying. But deep down, you know I'm telling the truth. CM Punk versus Gunter isn't a story. It was a gauntlet match. Naomi versus Rhea versus Io Sky isn't a story. It's just a rematch. Becky versus Lyra, kind of a story. But again, we've seen it. Jade versus Tiffany Stratton isn't a story. Jade won the Queen of the Ring. You know what I'm saying? And all the matches we know are going to get made after that are not going to be stories. They're going to be, we're struggling for time. We have to make up 2 years. We probably never should have done 2 days, but it makes us more money because we can double the profit. And they'll make all their monies off VIP tickets and meet and greets and all that stuff. I know they're regretting it because nobody enjoyed WrestleMania, and that was 2 nights, and that's WrestleMania, bro. So why the best thing? So Cardi B is going to be the best thing about SummerSlam. That's what's going to happen. She's going to do like I don't know, like some BBL finishing move in it, Sting face or something, and it's going to go off, and it's going to become a viral moment. You know, there's going to be a viral moment with Cardi B. That's all it's going to be, bro. So I offered these sentiments, these takes, not because I'm a smart ass, not because I think I know better than everyone else. I'm an experienced wrestling fan. I've been around for a minute watching wrestling. I watch it in detail. I enjoy it a lot. I haven't been here since the golden era when the first Hogan and that has been around, but I've been around since the 90s, bro. So I lived through a few eras on it. Lived through the little whatever the beginning of that era was into the Attitude Era, into the Ruthless Aggression era. I don't know where the name PG era came from, but all right, we'll take it. And then I don't know where the reality era came from because it's funny enough for people to call it the reality era. What the fuck does that mean? What? And then you got the Paul Levesque era, which is the worst one of them all. Listen, what I'm grateful for is the Demon Team. What I'm grateful for is the fact that when I have these issues and I have these chats, I can rock with Jews lot. I'm happy that when I do these watch alongs, I can rock with Jews lot. We have a community here, bro. Community is an overused word in 2025, but you get it, man. We got a family here where we can chop it up. You know what I mean? I'm sure some of you lot probably jump ship here and there, bro, but I don't know why. I don't know what. Unless you're going over to A and B to say hello because they're the homies. I don't know where else you're going. Yeah, you can go and tell me that someone else's watch along's better. It's not. So I'm just saying, we're strong over here. Great opinion. We always have a laugh. We joke around about stuff. We don't take it too serious, although we do rant from time to time. But I'm not making a video every day. Oh, every title says rant in it, and every thumbnail's got angry faces. I'm not doing that every day, and every day it's depression and WWE shit. I'm not doing that every day. I'm literally speaking my mind, and if I enjoy something, I enjoy it. Like Women's Evolution, I didn't have any negative stuff to say about it. And if I don't enjoy stuff, like Saturday Night Main Event, I'll just not talk about it, or I'll cook it. It's trash. But at the end of the day, I have nothing but respect for the WWE superstars. I want them to do great. I want them to be showcased better. And for the ones that have been underutilized and clearly have a lot more talent than people think, and they're getting trolled online and get, oh, you're a jobber and you stick to catering. I don't believe that about these wrestlers. There's very rarely that I find a wrestler that I believe has no talent, bro. That is just terrible. It doesn't happen very often. Even the ones that people don't like, sometimes you don't like them because of the stories, not because of their actual character. So these like bust their ass for us and it for our entertainment. These like throw themselves through tables and cages and hell in the cells and ladders for us, just for us to go wow. But when they go home, when they get in that shower and the back's bleeding and they're putting that thumbtacks and that, we ain't there. We ain't sending them chicken soup and medicine and paying for medical bills because no, bro, they gotta go through that on their own in it and then get back to the gym because you got another place to go to next week. So big up to the wrestlers. Big up to the Demon Team. Big up Scumbag. Listen, Gary, yeah, I enjoyed Women's Evolution. I don't believe that you don't know that already, which means you either didn't turn up for the aftermath, you didn't turn up for the watch along, or you're trolling me. But it was great. You guys are great. Love for the love. It's been emotional. The OTC's back. Hopefully they can do something, but he's definitely going to end up in a tag team match. We'll be back, man. Who knows? Ren.